something. Get some maple syrup and try that. Never tried maple syrup in coffee before.
That's a lot of syrup.
Well, you gotta have it sweet. I need all the sweetening I can get. Well, that's pretty good. Wow, that's really good maple syrup. I think I like it. Well, today we're gonna mill a maple log. Happens to be a maple from here in Great Falls, a silver maple out of a backyard. Let's find out where this thing's from. Oh boy. This is 5th Avenue South. We went and picked this one up one Saturday evening across town, I think, didn't we, Dan? Didn't you go with me and Justin?
Okay.
Yeah, that's
the guy in the backyard.
Yeah, this is the one. So 5th Avenue South, and we'll only say around 30th or so. But anyway, it's one we saved. It had to come down, and so this is just one of the branches off of it. But what's really cool about this is that, and this happens regularly, that this tree is actually sprouting. Come on in a little closer, I'll show you something. It's sprouting some little leaves. So the cambium is still active in this. If you remember some of our other videos, that we learned that the cambium is the living portion of the tree, and when the temperature's right in the springtime, the nutrients and things in that cambium begin flowing and moving again, and it stimulates these buds to start producing leaves. And so that happened to this tree, even though it's not in the ground anymore, which is normal. That happens a lot with logs after they've been cut. And because that nutrients is already there, the tree prepared for this in the fall by storing up everything it needed for the spring. So it isn't required to be in the ground for this process to happen. Now, there's no way to get this thing to grow as a tree anymore. Unfortunately, it's not going to just sprout new roots like some plants can. So this will become some nice pieces of wood. Now, go ahead.
The leaves are also how we can tell which kind of maple it goes to, right?
Yeah, this is a
maple's in the Acer family.
Acer. This is Acer saccharinum.
And then you have sugar or silver.
This is a silver maple.
And this is a silver because of the deep cuts in the leaf, right?
Right. You'll see this is a very immature. These will be silvery looking on the bottom when they're mature leaves. They get kind of a gray, dusty silver look to them on the bottom. That's where it gets its name, silver maple. So yeah, so if you step back also and take a look at this log and see how it's shaped, we'll go down to the end and look into it lengthways from down there, and you'll see the shape. We call these here in the sawmill shop, Dan and I call these bananas. So this is a big old banana, but we're going to cut it in this axis to produce some really cool bent slabs. And we're thinking, wow, those could make some really cool bar tops. We could even put a couple of them together and make a really wide bent bar top for somebody's cool man cave or restaurant or whatever you want it to be. Or we could open them up and flip them and make a lake table by filling the big hole in the middle. But anyway, that's what it is. And we're going to cut this into some 2 1/4 inch slabs. Like I've said before, that's our standard. So we're going to get rolling on this. But before we do, I am going to change the blade on this because it's been on here a while. We've been cutting a lot of random stuff lately, and I'm going to put my maple syrup over here. And Dan got a new blade out here. I'm going to back this up a little bit to give myself some room. And then get this thing open. I always put gloves on when I work with these blades. When Dan opened this one, it has a protector on it, so he's not going to get dinged. But boy, these things, even the used blades, they can rip your skin really quickly. So
I took care of that one. Oh.
There we go. This is a fun trick. This one's flipped already. When we put this on here, we leave that protector on there for a lot of reasons. Number one, it won't hurt my fingers, and number two, I won't damage the teeth passing through these metal openings. Once I get it in there and tightened up, we'll take that off. Ooh, and this one's going to be loose. Flip that up.
You okay?
How's it look here? Yeah, this looks pretty good. Now we can take this off. Now, with every blade change, we always test it by running the machine a little bit and making sure it's tracking correctly. We use MK Morse blades, which are really good. You can buy those for your shop bandsaw here at our store too. These are bimetal blades, boy, and they sure last a long time. You can hit a whole bunch of nails before you have to straighten it out. Okay, plug your ear, put your safety glasses on.
Side one is off. I never mess with that top one.
While Dan's checking the tracking, I'm going to get a measurement here. Good. All right. Oh, check these out. I got some new bifocal safety glasses today. They're awesome.
Really?
I did.
Would you like some, Dan?
I need some. I didn't know they made them.
Oh yeah, I mean, these are great. I look down, I can read, I mean, perfectly, and then just right up to distance. Here we go. I'm gonna do wackadoodle. Cut off of that now to get down to a good starting point for a wider slab. So the next one we cut will be a 2 1/4, and this one can be a couple really nice craft pieces of some sort. I can see, I don't know, something we've done here, a cool little side table, or I don't know, deer horn mounts. There's a really cool nut that's been cut off. Yeah, that's neat. We'll talk about that one in a minute too. So.
Dots.
And we were just where branches were growing out. Like these little nubs. This grows out a little ways, it goes a few years. Here's one right here. So if you don't prune these and if you just leave them to grow, there'll be a random branch here. And so I don't know if you can get over here to see this side. But right here is one that broke off. Right there, it broke off. And that creates these funky little spots in here as the tree's growing.
And this one one?
Now this is one that was cut off after it had grown quite a while, and so we can tell by this that this is the lower part of the log, and the upper part of the log is the other end, because here was a branch coming out. But I'm guessing that branch died, because look at this. This is rotten here. So that branch died, and probably why it was cut off, because it's rotten all the way up to here. So, which is fine. It's still a neat look.
Good job sealing it.
Yeah, the tree grew around it nicely and healed up fine. But that does create some really cool feature in the wood, especially for bar tops and things. So. All right, Daniel, let's see what this one looks like. That's when you turn it. Put it this way. Hold it up here. Oh. So this knot's becoming more solid. That was the one that was rotting. But we do have some rot we're seeing right down here in this knot, which is fine. That's, again, something that can create a really cool feature in a piece. Put some secret coins or something in there and fill it with resin. All right, Daniel, let's throw this on the stack.
Josie, whatever you do, don't move.
Looking down my way just an inch. There we go.
Looks like Dan's been working out.
There's your lake table.
Hang on. I was making a funny joke.
That'd be, go ahead and lay it down right there. That'll make a nice big conference table. You could even put something else in
The
there. other than
company
resin.
name in the
Just
middle.
a piece of glass.
Company name.
Person.
Or a person.
Yeah, let's get this one on there.
Hey, we even got some spalting down here.
Some
Yeah,
cool
look at
wave
that.
in
Yeah,
there.
that's gorgeous. As that wood's growing around that knot as it's healing, it's not growing straight because it's kind of going in goofy directions. So we get this quilted pattern here, which is really cool.
Straight?
Got some neat grain down here too. Beautiful colors. Spalting down here.
It's really prominent.
No. Yeah, maybe you should go back down there.
You can see a lot of the figure in this, but what's interesting about maples is their sapwood. You can see this is a pretty large sapwood region on this tree, and this is typically the color that people expect when you go buy a maple board and you see something made out of maple. You see this much lighter, almost white colored wood. So typically, hard white maple is milled from the sapwood region, giving you that white look. You get towards the inside of most of these trees and you get a much different looking maple color. I mean, lots of beautiful patterns and colors in it, but it's not the white that you would expect to see when you think of maple. So that's what makes slabs of maple unique. When this is dried and finished, and with just a nice clear coat, a tung oil finish of some sort, this is really going to stand out and be some prominent colors. I can't wait to build something out of it. So I hope you need a bar or something that you want out of this. We can build it for you. Just like that.
Don't get your blood pumping. You got
Bring it out this way. Let's go down this way. Well, we got this thing flipped over. It was kind of a bit of a monkey cluster, but we did it. So here we go. We're going to cut this, continuing our 2 1/4 inch slices, but now we're planting from the bottom up. So the way this sawmill works is I've got a gauge over here that tells me where this blade is sitting in relationship to this flat surface where the log sits. And so my reading will tell me this exact distance that's left underneath this blade. So I'm going to set that meter to 2 1/4 inches and then raise it up probably 2 more sets of 2 1/4 and start cutting this there and work my way back down. So you'll watch in from behind if you want, or we'll see how it works. So here, I'll show you. So this will cut all the way down to 1 inch from that the bed of the sawmill. So if I bring this all the way down as far as it goes, this is 1 inch. This rotates. 1 revolution is 2 inches of movement. So that is 1 inch of movement. So this is 1 inch. This is 1 1/16, 1 1/8, 1 3/16, 1 1/4, 1 1/2, 1 3/4, 2. That's how that works. So I need to be sitting at 2 1/4. Now I know what's below there is going to be the same thickness as the piece that we took off before we flipped it. So now what I'm going to do is raise this up in increments of 2 1/4 inches. So I know the pieces above this will end up being the same as well. So that's 2 inches, that's 1/4, but now I've got to compensate for the blade kerf that I removed from the first cut. So I'm going to give it 2 little clicks. Now I'm going to go 2 1/4 plus my 2 more little clicks, and I bet that's about where I need to be. I'm going to drive it in and see what we got. Yeah, I think that'll be a good starting point. We'll get some of the top of that cleaned off and then cut down from there. Here we go. Get the safety glasses back on. In case you're wondering why I just did what I did, as I was going along, I saw that I was going to have the opportunity to get like an 1 1/8 thick piece that's kind of oval shaped in 2 different points on this. So I backed up and raised it up 1 1/8, took another cut. But what that's going to do is this piece here is going to be just a really nice oval shape, and so will the piece underneath this. But I also, this piece particularly, I want to show you something. If you come around over here, you'll notice that I saw this earlier. There's some damage in this tree, and so I don't know if that was a branch. I think it probably was, but I thought, boy, that might be pretty cool to have an 1 1/8 piece out of that. That might include something pretty cool looking on the other side. So that's why I did that. I'm going to go back now and get back to my 2 1/4 spacing, but I wanted to go ahead and save a couple more pieces of wood off this tree. Go ahead and see what we ended up with here. That's what I thought. I thought there'd be something pretty cool right there. And it's really figured wood around that. And can you see the fish we have down here? Imagine trimming that off right there. There's a bit of wall art for you.
Yeah.
It's a fish.
That's awesome.
And a cool little tabletop right here.
Caught your first fish of the year.
Yeah, here you go, Dano. All right, that's right back where I started my 2 1/4 measurement. So our next one down will be a 2 1/4 slab. Might be wondering why I'm kicking the bucket. Well, this is a whole lot easier to clean up than letting it just pile up over here. Besides, I don't like it getting in my shoes walking in a big old pile. So we put it in here and find something fun to do with it. Thanks to Dan over here, he does a good job keeping our sawmill clean. Well, he runs this most of the time. I just like to do it once in a while now for the videos, but he keeps this sawmill shop pretty clean, and every day when he goes home, there's no sawdust left in there. He takes care of the machine, lubes it up, and cleans it up, and it keeps it looking really good. So that's why we use the bucket.
think about maple and they come in and say, do you have a maple board? What they're thinking about is this here. This is called clear white hard maple. Clear white hard maple comes from the sugar maple families. And this is the sapwood. This is not the heartwood. The sapwood is what everybody wants. When you think of maple cutting boards, etc., you're usually thinking of this type of wood. What we have here is a sink made out of silver maple. And this particular sink and this, the pattern and the colors come from the heartwood. You see all these different colors in it. That's heartwood maple. And again, this is from the silver. Silver, and there's a whole bunch of different kinds. I think if you look on Wikipedia, it'll tell you there's 128 different kinds of maple trees. But if you look at the leaves of this, and Chris maybe talked about it earlier, they're going to be silvery on the bottom, but it's the shape of the leaves. We all know the shape of a maple leaf, but softer maple woods are going to have deeper grooves in them. Sugar maples are going to tend to be harder maple, things that you'd use for cutting boards, etc. And they'll have grooves that won't go quite down as much. When you think about syrup, Chris tried syrup in his coffee.
It was terrible.
You can actually get syrup from any maple tree. So you can go to any maple tree and you could plug it and you could get syrup out of it. You'll get more syrup from certain varieties, but all maples will give you syrup. And making stuff out of maple, well, that's pretty sweet.